Good morning, folks. It's the 21st of February 2018. Welcome once again to our channel. Here you get more news in 15 minutes than anywhere else on the planet. Subscribe, discover. You are the smartest audience on the planet. Pray we can stay on the air. The worldwide weather has gone nuts. Brought to you, of course, by Trade Genius. Now that the first gold-backed currency is here, we can expect some real changes economically here in the United States. Trade Genius is serious investment for serious investors in a very much changing world. 4 days ago, we read about a sudden atmospheric change in the North Pole where this stratosphere, 10 to 30 miles, 11 to 31 miles, roughly that range. Here's North America, here's Europe, and a sudden split. Now, it's pretty weird because there's a law, an international law, that prohibits anybody from printing anything that happened above the 81st parallel or below the 81st parallel. So it's strange that you would get this article. Somebody's putting this article out trying to explain the strange weather anomalies that are now occurring. There was some sort of weather change. Yes, maybe we got hit by a meteor. Who knows? Or a solar blast from the sun. But something did happen, and the weather has started acting in a very erratic manner. The western U.S. here, in New York, it's 65 degrees right now, almost at noon. Some of these areas are 70, 75 degrees. We're reaching 80, 85 degrees down here in Georgia. Yet here in the Northwest, it's still snowing, and we had minus 17 degrees here in Montana. Everybody says, oh, it's a winter in Montana. In February, you don't get minus 17 degrees. We know it was minus 17 because we have a good friend there with a thermometer they stuck outside. Minus 17. So in the Midwest, this whole region here is being hit with floods. So we have warm, freezing, floods. Very unusual. What it is doing, however, is wreaking havoc on our crops. Crop production, especially in the winter wheat here and the winter wheat across here, is being severely impacted, especially with the GMO wheat. Our crops in the Midwest here are literally being washed away across the country. As the sun expands and puts out more sunspots, the chemtrails continue, causing our ozone to disintegrate because of the heavy metals they're using. These weather anomalies will increase. Now they're having some of the hottest weather here, and they're having the hottest weather on record down here as they try to water this area to calm it down, but the hurricane just isn't working. It's still very hot down there. What this means to you, combined with the first gold-backed currency now hitting the market, it means higher food prices, hyperinflation at the grocery stores. This is why we've been teaching about how to eat inexpensively on our cooking channel. God showed us this years ago, and we've been discussing the coming crop failures now for years. And what you're going to see is huge price rises in our standard crops. The GMO killer wheat and corn, which is grown here in the U.S., the killer corn and the killer wheat that has RNA that changes your DNA, is highly susceptible to these weather changes. Unfortunately, the canola oil, the rapeseed oil grown up here, is not susceptible to these weather changes. Of course, we all know that when you eat canola oil, your liver shuts down and you no longer produce L-acetylcarnitine and you get fat. So canola oil was designed to get you fat. It also means that your heating and cooling bill will go up as the power companies use these weather anomalies as an excuse to raise your power rates. We will pay or lose our power. Power companies are very vicious. You either pay your power bill or you're done. Our power bill of, say, $500 a month is usually about $250 in taxes that have nothing to do with the power. But since the power company is owned by the city, they just raise taxes through the power company. Since the school district is owned by the city, they charge $4,000 a month to educate a child, while the local Lutheran church charges $300 a month. So the city raises money to pad their pockets through the school system and the power companies. That's pretty much the way it is across the country, by the way. And just a personal note, again, it was minus 17 here in Kalispell, Montana last night. Please pray that those retired on Social Security can weather these storms and pay their power bills. Please also pray that NASA changes or their leaders are taken out immediately. I mean taken out, removed, neutralized, whatever. Removed from NASA. And either they change their chemtrail formulas instead of using killer sprays containing defoliants and heavy metals. Yes, one of the compounds that we're seeing being sprayed all over California is defoliants to kill the vegetation. This is in their chemtrails. We need to pray that the leaders of NASA are neutralized, killed or taken out of power, and that new ones are moved in so that they can use a formula that will return our ozone layer. They've just about destroyed our own ozone layer. So as the sun enlarges and cools, we're going to get hit more and more and more with strange weather anomalies. Pray that those leaders at NASA are removed and replaced with people who will use the formula we've given to restore our ozone and refertilize our planet. And in absolutely related news, Canada's oil crisis continues to worsen. Bad weather is hindering the Canadian oil markets. First, they don't have enough pipelines to transport their oil sands to the market. You think we got a lot of federal agencies shutting us down when we try to open a business? Just try to open one in Canada. That little socialist group of nutcases will block anybody from doing anything when it comes to the business world. You're either sucking off the government or you don't have a job up there. The more money we pump into our federal agencies, our state agencies, our counties and cities, the less jobs we have and the less money we have. So first of all, they couldn't build pipelines because they were stopped by the environmentalist nutcases. Secondly, they don't have enough rail cars up there, and they can't move them from the United States because the government won't allow them to, so they can't transport the oil to port. And finally, the strange weather anomalies they're getting are preventing the railroads from even moving. So a lot of the rail lines are currently shut in Canada, either due to snow, flooding, wind, rain, trees across the tracks, you name it. So a lot of the rail lines are shut. And so what rail lines they have, they're trying to operate, but they won't allow them to move rail cars up into Canada. It's just insane. So if you're an investor in Canada, it's the government of Canada, and it's the weather anomalies and the lack of oil pipelines, which are stopping the exportation of Canadian oils. So look no further than Trudeau for shutting down the oil exports. And in other oil-related news, United Arab Emirates just overthrew the legally elected government of Yemen. While we were all watching television, the government of Yemen was overthrown. The allies, your allies and mine, supported by U.S.-supplied weapons, a lot of them made in Serbia. That's right. We don't use homegrown weapons manufacturers like Remington. We let them go bankrupt. We take your tax dollars and support foreign weapons manufacturers and then use those weapons overseas. The Saudis and United Arab Emirates, supported by your weapons and your dollars, just sent in troops to kill the Yemen president Ali Abdullah Saleh, but he managed to get out of the country alive. Oops. Now the oil in Yemen can be stolen by the Saudi Arabians, thanks to our friends in the CIA. Now keep in mind that the CIA is a foreign-owned corporation by the Queen of England, who is dead, so they have a double in their place. But it's owned by the royalty in England, and they do what the English royalty tells them to do, like little lapdogs, robots, slaves. The CIA is nothing but a slave of the English royalty. So they move Saudi Arabia, and they kill the president, they kill a bunch of people, and they steal their oil. Welcome to the new CIA world. And in other news, it turns out it was the Polish central bank that has been funding the anti-crypto ads across the internet. Yep, Melvin Rothschild, the new Rothschild, hiding in Zug, Switzerland because he's afraid of being killed because everybody knows he wants to crack this planet in half. Melvin Rothschild's controlled bank has been brainwashing you into thinking all cryptos are bad simply because they lose control when you buy a crypto in gold and silver. So they suppress the price of gold and silver, and they tell you cryptos are bad with massive advertisements. They have been actively trying to shut down cryptocurrencies illegally. That is a violation of the federal banking laws and the international banking laws, but no arrests were made for the felonies committed by these Polish bankers. Nobody's in jail. They just keep doing it. Pray their directors are neutralized immediately, and new directors are brought in who do not conduct illegal banking activities. And Amazon was just busted on 4,000 separate accounts of selling illegal pesticides. And finally, apparently that story has been blocked because you're not supposed to see it. Does that surprise you? And finally, a female software engineer who worked in Silicon Valley discussed how the Google and Apple platforms supported by the progressive Luciferians, and literally came after those who desired freedom of speech. Marlene Jackson, in this story, discussed her role in the development of Google and Apple platforms and just how she witnessed firsthand this suppression of these human-sacrificing, Luciferian-loving creeps who run Google and Apple, and how she was banned from participating in anything to do with telling the truth. There have been no arrests at Apple, Microsoft, and Google monopolies for supporting the suppression of the truth and committing these felonies. Please pray that the leaders of these platforms changed or are neutralized immediately, and free speech can once again reign as Lucifer and his buddies are thrown off this planet permanently. They really have done a mess on this planet, I'll tell you what. We'll see if we can't pull up that Amazon story, but apparently somebody on the internet doesn't want you to see that Amazon story. So let's see if we... Nope. They've frozen the computer. Thank you. Yep, computer frozen. It's funny. You see, when the CIA doesn't want you, the CIA, run by the English government, a perverted murdering corporation, cocaine international agency, or cocaine import agency, computer frozen. Please pray for President Trump's safety and health, and that he has the guts to order the arrests of these individuals now committing these crimes, including the Secret Service for setting up this fake shooting in the Florida high school, and the directors of Serco for putting out the hundreds and hundreds of stories through the Federal Entrust Company through the program of Demon. Please pray that they are arrested immediately. God bless. Thank you for watching. You are the coolest audience in the world. Oh, there we have Amazon charged with 4,000 counts of selling illegal pesticides. After they killed my sound yesterday, which means that they obviously are pushing for the president to be assassinated and the nuclear weapons to go off in this country. But there have been no arrests, so they just keep doing this over and over and over again. I don't have the power to arrest them, and President Trump won't. So they're going to continue to commit these crimes over and over and over again until somebody in the Department of Justice gets the guts to arrest them. Ah, they killed the story again. You are the difference. We cannot emphasize that enough. Your prayers keeping us on the air, helping feed people across the globe. You're the smartest, the best audience on the planet. I pray every day for you, because what's coming is going to mean that you're not going to have enough money for food. We pray every day that your families listen to our cooking videos and that you can learn how to survive in what's coming. And again, the lead story, which we probably cannot get to because they're blocking it, is that worldwide weather goes nuts and is now affecting our crops. God bless. See how it's freezing up? That has to do with the CIA control. God bless. Thank you for watching. Again, after they suppressed our sound yesterday and we had to redo the video when we got back, anything's possible. God bless. Thank you very much, and good night.